So it is with great pleasure that we receive you today at this house of the European Institute of the Mediterranean, because of different reasons. And let me recall maybe the first one, because we received today our Minister Victòria Alsina as a member of the Catalan government, and as the chief member of our Board of Governance. So this is very important for us, and let me salute especially Madam Victòria Alsina for her presence today, this afternoon, at this session. And in the second place, of course, we are extremely happy to receive you because of the issue we are dealing with, which is the participation of women in society and how women journalists may participate, especially in the overall endeavor to overcome some of the main problems that we do have in the Mediterranean region. And I think that, of course, women journalists are especially qualified and are in the best possible place to play a very, very special role. And well, here at the European Institute of the Mediterranean, we've been working for the last 30 years, having very much in mind that this is a central issue for the social development in Mediterranean countries. In fact, we had the occasion, of course, to participate very, very directly in what came to be in '95 the Barcelona process, as you know, and in the Barcelona process, of course, and in the final declaration of the ministerial meeting that gave birth to the Barcelona process in '95, women had a central issue because the whole of Barcelona process is a project of modernization of societies, of modernization of institutions, of modernization of the role of women as a key transversal issue for all that in all that overall goal to promote in the Mediterranean an area of peace and stability, an area of shared economic progress, an area of intercultural dialogue among people and nations around the Mediterranean. And we knew since the beginning that the role of women was a key role for that. I would remember especially the very important report in my mind of the UNDP program for the Arab world that's, as you know, based in Beirut and produced by scholars and experts from the Arab world itself, that stated very, very clearly and showed it in a very clear way already in 2002, which were the main obstacles for that social development and human development in the Arab world. And as you may recall, the three main hindrances that were stressed in that extremely important report, which was analyzed in depth in the following years till today, was a deficit in governance, a deficit in knowledge, and a deficit in the role of women in society. I always thought that this was a very much, I would say, illuminating, enlightening analysis of the situation in Mediterranean countries. And so we have devoted as much attention as possible to that, both as a specific issue and as a transversal way to look at any other subject. This is why, for the first reason I said, and for this very special reason, that we are extremely happy to receive you here today. And here at the Institute, what do we do? Well, we do have a lot of programs, in fact, dealing with gender issues. We have the MAGIC problem, which is Muslim women and communities against gender Islamophobia in society. There's a project funded by the DG Justice of the European Union. which is part of the Observatory on Islamophobia, on the media, especially in European media, which we conduct along with selected scholars and media which we follow, pointing them how they can improve the treatment and the news they produce to avoid spreading Islamophobia, because that sometimes they do that even without knowing it. So it is a very important issue. We have, for example, another project, Voix des Femmes, which is part of the very important endeavor we have conducted in recent years, the Fundación des Femmes de la Méditerranée, that you may be known from many of you, because there are many different institutions of women from countries both north and south of the Mediterranean participating. We have conducted in recent months another project which is Eduquer dans la diversité, which is the replica in Morocco and in Belgium of a very interesting program that we have conducted mainly in high school, in different schools in the area of Barcelona first, and then now being replicated in Belgium and Morocco. And we do that with the Department of Equality, Migrations and Citizenship of the Catalan government for the exercise we conduct on the spot in the schools, in the classrooms with the students, and then the project cluster, which is advancing youth and women and social inclusion in the Mediterranean. And then I do have a long list of which I will spare to you on different activities, exhibits, conferences, etc., that we have conducted in these recent months. But it is you who know best what is at stake and what can be done. And so I can only say you that we are extremely eager to know what your conclusions are, and how can we turn things in fact, because we started in these early times in 1995 and 2002, etc., but things have gone in different ways. I mean, there have been advances and there have been serious setbacks. And so it is important to know that it is youth and women, effectively, who promoted this, let's call it still Arab Springs, with different results in the short run, because I'm convinced that, absolutely convinced, that in the long run, of course, the Arab countries will not be an exception, and that the Arab societies will just become, I would say, just normal societies. And the fourth wave of, democratization and so on is already at place, is already working, and may last a short or longer period, but it is underway and it will prevail. But the role of women is crucial. And I dare to say, although it is you who are the experts, not me, that the role of women journalists is a very, very special role. So just to say that we are happy to receive you here because we know of the importance of the subject. And I will thank you for your attention in these poor words that I am delivering to you. And I will just pass the floor to our special guest for this inaugural session. In the first place, to Madam Alicia Oliver, la coordinadora de la Xarxa Europea de Dones Periodistes. So, Alicia, vinga, tot per tu.
Moltes gràcies, president executiu de l'IEMET, honorable consellera, comissionat de l'Ajuntament de Barcelona, gràcies per acompanyar-nos aquesta tarda. Benvingudes i benvinguts en aquesta sala. També una salutació especial per les companyes i companys que ens segueixen per via online i molt especialment a les nostres companyes i amigues periodistes de la Mediterrània. Gràcies per ser aquí. Benvingudes a Barcelona i a Catalunya. Bona tarda. El año pasado se cumplían 25 años de las jornadas Las Periodistas, el Mediterráneo y el Futuro, un encuentro realizado por la Red Europea de Mujeres Periodistas que pretendía crear vínculos entre las dos orillas del Mediterráneo en unos momentos difíciles para el ejercicio de la profesión, especialmente si eras mujer y especialmente si en aquella época vivías en Argelia. Han pasado 26 años y a pesar de que podemos decir que respecto a las mujeres se ha avanzado legal y socialmente, el ejercicio profesional continúa siendo de extremada violencia en algunos países del Mediterráneo. Establecer puentes de diálogo y comunicación entre las dos orillas y crear alianzas y cooperación entre las mujeres periodistas son dos de los objetivos que persigue esta reunión, este encuentro. Este encuentro que quiere mirar al Mediterráneo desde una mirada feminista, ¿no? Y contando siempre con nuestras aportaciones. Queremos incidir en la construcción de una agenda propia que tenga como eje central la visibilidad de las mujeres y su trabajo en la construcción de una sociedad más justa, equitativa y sostenible. Muchos son los temas que nos preocupan y que nos interesan. La jornada que presentamos hoy está pensada como un espacio para relacionarse entre periodistas y entidades que trabajan temas relacionados con el medio ambiente, los movimientos sociales, el tema de la paz, la migración en la Mediterránea. Queremos avanzar en una comunicación transformadora y podemos hacerlo conjuntamente. Mañana nos aguarda una jornada pensada en clave profesional para conocer y reflexionar sobre la situación de las mujeres periodistas y comunicadoras, qué retos tenemos y cómo nos podemos articular mejor para poder enfrentarlos. Esta jornada sin duda será ilusionante y espero que surjan propuestas para avanzar en una comunicación más igualitaria y menos sexista. Quisiera acabar recordando a nuestra querida compañera, amiga y gran periodista Montserrat Minovis, todo un referente para las mujeres periodistas de Cataluña, responsable también de que hoy estemos aquí en este encuentro, porque fue ella la que nos embarcó en esta aventura mediterránea. Con Minovis empezamos a preparar estas jornadas justamente a principios del 2019, poco antes de que nos dejara. Así que un recuerdo para ella y muy buenas jornadas. Gracias.
Bé, moltes gràcies, Alicia. I té la palabra con muchísimo gusto Miquel Rodríguez, que és el comissionat de l'Agenda 2030 de l'Ajuntament de Barcelona.
Honorable consellera, estimats nens, estimada Alicia, estimats tots i totes, it's really a pleasure to have you here in Barcelona with us. It's a pleasure, first, because finally you have been able to have this conference. You were expected to have it last year in the frame of the 25th anniversary of the Declaration of Barcelona, but you know as well as me that we had the pandemic and it made it impossible. However, now you're here in Barcelona, and I can say it's not a pleasure, it's an honor that our city hosts this conference. And it's an honor because gender equity is a priority for our city council. And any kind of activity that enhances this will of equity is more than welcome in our city. In Barcelona, we're working as much as we can to reach this gender equity. In terms of the 2030 agenda, you know, we have the fifth goal, the fifth SDG that goes into gender equity. We are working to adapt this goal in our reality, and we push policies inside the city council to move in the reach of this goal. And also we have a strategy against feminization of poverty with more than 70 measures focused basically on transforming the dynamic of the gender inequity in the labor market, and also with several internal measures such as close in procurement process guaranteeing gender equity. However, our work is not enough. And the work that you do, your capacity to amplify as a woman journalist about all this fight for gender equity, it's not more than welcome, it's more than needed. So we're very pleased to have you here. We hope that you have very interesting debates, food for thoughts, and the conclusions that you reach during the conference can be used by administration like us to improve our policies. So enjoy the conference, and thank you all.
So, moltes gràcies. Thank you very much, because I know how much gender issues are appreciated in the municipal policies in a city as Barcelona, who tries to be at the front of many of these modernizing policies in different respects. And I must say that since I've seen that there are among you people coming from Lebanon, Greece, Tunisia, Libya, Palestine, the European Parliament, etc., Egypt, Turkey, Algeria, Morocco, you know that you have headphones and that simultaneous translation is provided, English and Spanish and Catalan, so that any of these languages can be heard and spoken. Ok, i ara pues, amb moltíssim gust, honorable consellera, tinc l'honor de passar-te la paraula, sisplau.
Moltíssimes gràcies, president, coordinadora, comissionats, periodistes, amics i amigues. No podria començar la meva intervenció en un acte avui i, a més en un acte en el qual del que parlarem, sense començar condemnant la brutal violació d'una menor que ha tingut lloc a Igualada, que ens ha colpit a tots i que el govern no només condemna profundament, sinó que reafirma el seu compromís de treballar per l'erradicació de les violències masclistes i, a més, doncs, per suposat, posant-se al costat de la noia, de la família, dels seus amics i de totes les persones que, quan veuen una atrocitat de primera mà, veuen que passen el dia a dia, doncs passen por i no se senten segures. Per tant, no podria començar l'acte d'avui sense fer aquesta condemna explícita en nom del govern. Gràcies per la vostra mirada, pel vostre compromís i per entendre que aquest és un tema important per totes i per tota la societat. I will continue in English, and I will continue saying that I'm thrilled to have all of you as part of this conversation today and tomorrow, as part of the activities that EMED is moving forward with the full support of this government. This is a central topic and a key issue in our agenda. I want to say then, thank you for understanding that this is important. Thank you for joining us, because talking about journalism, talking about women, is also talking about the problems that our society has as a whole. So it's very important that we are seated here today. I think that having the woman perspective beyond stereotypes, having this first-hand approach to different cultural, economic, and political issues, it's very important because it opens us untold stories, it shows us different perspectives, and it creates an imaginarium of new meanings and new realities that are part of our daily life. So this conversation is important for us. I think, on top of this, that the profession of a journalism has a double importance or a double role, because we are not talking here only about women that can work as journalists. We are talking here about a powerful channel, a driving force to transform the whole society from this perspective. So I think that this has a plus of other conversations that are happening for the potential of really sharing this perspective beyond the fact that the media could not be representative without an equal voice. If we review some numbers are important and data is important to really know what we are facing. We see that, for example, if we review how many times women are direct subjects of stories in the media, we see that only 25% of the content on television, radio, print news are talking about women. And this even goes lower in some Mediterranean states. I think that this makes us also clear that we have a powerful potential here, not only to influence public policies, to influence public opinions, and at the end of the day, to change the individual beliefs and behaviors of the entire society. Being a journalist is not easy. Being a woman and a journalist is even harder, and especially in places where press freedom is not secured. Also reviewing some data in this front, in 2021, if we review the statistics, we had 50 women, 50 journalists that went to prison for doing their jobs. So I think these numbers are important to keep in mind, because these are numbers around the world, but a portion of this also comes from the region that we are focusing today. Catalonia wants then to thank you all for your professionalism, your gaze, your commitment, and we are very much looking forward to see the conclusions that will come from these 2 days of conversations that will happen after we finish this formal inauguration of the event. Catalonia prides itself of working to facilitate platforms like this one, like the one that IEMET is building today for all of us, to have these conversations. The government of Catalonia, for the very first time, also created a ministry that is focused on equal issues and works to really secure that we have this perspective in all the public policies that we want to put together. And more precisely, on the foreign action side, the ministry that I'm leading, we have 2 crucial tools that we use to really move forward this gender's perspective. So we have also the 2030 agenda and the policies connected to this agenda, and the Catalan Mediterranean strategy. These 2 things together compile more than 250 actions that are connected to directly work in this direction. We also try to incorporate gender issues to all policies, to all cooperation policies that we do around the world, because we want to take part of these global challenges. And we have a few examples these past years of projects that have been promoted by the Catalan Agency for Development Cooperation. We have, for example, one project in Libya focused on the prevention and response to gender-based violence. We have one project in Morocco that is focused on financing the grassroots organizations that work in this field. Or, for example, the commitment of the Foreign Action General Directorship participating in the Euromed Women's Summit, promoted by the Union for the Mediterranean, in which the government participated, building also some recommendations that we can apply to our own policies. Just to finish my initial remarks, I want to say a couple of things. So we cannot do this without building the right networks for doing that. We need public-private collaboration, of course. We need collaboration with the third sector organizations that are working. And this transversal networking and partnerships approach is also part of what this government wants to secure and wants to do. And finally, I think that for the conversation that you are starting next, we need to talk about equal opportunities at all stages of the media chain. So it's very important to analyze this from the very beginning till the very end of this chain and all these actors that are part of this chain, and also to do this in terms of responsibility, visibility, and real work that we can put together. With that said, I want to finish saying the support of the government of Catalonia to this event, and also to what comes next, that is moving forward this agenda. I will, now that you allowed me, Senen, to take the floor, also I want to finish saying that this same month, on November the 28th, we will be celebrating the Day of the Mediterranean. We will be celebrating this for the very first time, this Day of the Mediterranean, that is also promoted by the Union for the Mediterranean, IEMET, and my department. And I hope that also as part of this day, we can celebrate some of the things that we will discuss here today. Thank you so much.
Bé, moltes gràcies. Moltes gràcies. Thank you very much. So we will go on. Well, you will go on mainly for the first session, which is comunicació or the ESI and 2030 agenda in the Mediterranean. And so members of the panel should come to the floor, which will leave free for you. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you.